chesed yibana. Ya la 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 la. Olam chesed yibana. Ya la 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 la. I will build this world from love. Ya la 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 la. You will build this world from love. Ya la 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 la. If we build this world from love, ya la 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 la. God will build this world from love. Ya la 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 la. Olam chesed yibana. Ya la 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 la. Shabbat Shalom. It is so wonderful to have you with us this evening. If you're watching along with us live, please do say hello in our chat if you're so able. And of course, if you're watching after the fact, still feel free to say hello and Shabbat Shalom to us. We love hearing from you. At this evening's service, we will be joined by a group called Pursuit of Harmony. Pursuit of Harmony is made up of an American Jew and a Palestinian Muslim who met about 10 years ago and began making music together and used that music to help bridge the divides between two worlds that may seem different, but as they will teach you this evening, are much more similar than any of us may realize. So we are really happy to have Pursuit of Harmony sharing music and teaching with us this evening. Before we begin, we will light our Shabbat candles to officially begin our service. I invite you to join me in singing. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Shabbat Shalom. We're very fortunate on this Shabbat to have Pursuit of Harmony with us. Shabbat is itself a time of harmony. The story of creation begins with chaos, tohu vavohu. But God made harmony out of that chaos. And Shabbat comes with it this sense of peace, of order, of completeness. To have a moment when the world around us often seems to be chaotic, to allow ourselves to join together in prayer, in song, in gathering, seeking a time of peace, of Shabbat Shalom.
To begin our service this evening, we will hear one of our oldest and most favorite hymns, Hine Matov, How Good and Sweet It Is to Be Together, words from Psalms. We'll hear it a little differently than we are used to as we join the Hebrew with some Arabic, as Michael and Allah share a little bit of their music from Pursuit of Harmony to begin our worship service this evening.
تخيلها ما أسماها والعالم كله متوحد تخيلها ما أسماها والعالم كله متوحد تخيلها والعالم كله متوحد تخيلها والعالم كله متوحد
حينما طوفوا معاي شبت أخيم גם יחד حينما طوفوا معاي شبت أخيم גם יחד
הנה מה טוב
والعالم كله متوحد
הנה מה טוב
والعالم كله متوحد
הנה מה טוב ומנעים שבת אחים גם יחד הנה מה טוב ומנעים שבת אחים גם יחד הנה מה טוב
والعالم كله متوحد
הנה מה טוב שבת אחים גם יחד הנה מה טוב ומנעים שבת אחים גם יחד הנה מה טוב ומנעים שבת אחים גם יחד תחיילها
شبت أخيم גם יחד
הנה מה טוב שבת אחים גם יחד תחיילها מה اسمها العالم كله
شبت أخيم גם
تخيلها ما اسمها
טוב ומנע
العالم كله
شبت أخيم גם
Warm greetings from Ramallah to Chicago. Very warm days in the Middle East. Sukkot Shalom, thank you so much for having Michael and I, for having the Pursuit of Harmony to take part in your Shabbat service. I wish I could be there in person, but despite all exceptional circumstances, starting from my personal visa issues and ending with the global pandemic, I hope that we can make it one day. I would love to thank you so much for your patience. Thank you so much for having me, you showing such a courage to have a Palestinian Muslim in your congregation. You're showing a unique leadership model. Thanks for your compassion. Thank you so much, and Shabbat Shalom.
Words from Psalms. Sing to Adonai a new song. Shiru l'Adonai kol haaretz. Shiru l'Adonai shir chadash. Shiru l'Adonai kol haaretz. Shiru l'Adonai shir chadash. Sing unto God, all the earth, a new song. I will sing unto God a new song. Sing unto God, and we'll all sing along. All the earth a new song unto God. Shiru l'Adonai kol haaretz. Shiru l'Adonai shir chadash. We'll turn now to the words of Lecha Dodi, welcoming the Sabbath bride this evening. Lecha Dodi, likrat kala, penei Shabbat, mikabla. בשלום עטרת בלט, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה, בואי חלה, בואי חלה, לך אדוני לקראת כלה, פני שבת לקבלה. לך אדוני לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה.
Last night we welcomed Pursuit of Harmony to the Sukkot Shalom community. And we heard the story of Michael, a Jewish American, and Allah, a Muslim Palestinian, and their story of connection and friendship that started with creating music together. Michael will share more of their story this evening in our teaching spot later on in the service. As we enter into our communal prayer on this Shabbat, I invite you to think about your own circle of community. Have you developed an unexpected friendship or connection with a person that you thought you had nothing in common with? Maybe it's someone who comes from a different country, a different race, ethnicity, religion. What have you learned in that relationship? And how can each of us continue to pursue these kind of relationships with the other, people who are different than we are? I invite you to meditate on these questions as we are called together as one community in prayer with words of praise, the Baruch Hu.
Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? Baruch hu et Adonai hamevorach. Baruch Adonai hamevorach le'olam va'ed, le'olam va'ed. Yalalai lai lai, 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 yalalai lai lai. We turn now to the words of Shema, proclaiming the oneness of Adonai. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. That word Echad, one. We'll hear now from Michael and Allah as they share a composition of theirs incorporating that word one, Echad and Wahed.
So in 2015, I began to invite Allah to visit Shabbat services with me. And right away, he felt a familiarity in the language.
Yeah, I remember that, Mikey, when I asked you the question, what Shema means in Hebrew, and you told me, listen, and it's Isma, so it's more similar in Arabic than in English.
And the similarities continue. So we say Shema, and Allah says,
Isma.
listen. We say
Yes.
Echad.
For one, and it means Wahid.
Yeah, Wahed, Echad. We say Olam for world.
And we say Alam. So Olam, Alam, Echad, Wahid. And even in Hinima Tov, when we say Shevet Achim, Gam Yachad, Wahid, and Achim, brother, mean Ach. So it's the same.
So here's the intro to Shema. Echad, Wahed. Here comes the video.
الواحد الواحد
شما أولام
اسمع يا عالم
شما أولام
اسمع يا عالم
أدوناي إلهينو
ربنا الباقي
أدوناي إلهينو
ربنا الباقي
أدوناي إخاد
ربنا الواحد
أدوناي إخاد
ربنا الواحد
إخاد
الواحد
إخاد
الواحد
شما أولام
اسمع يا عالم
شما أولام
اسمع يا عالم
أدوناي إلهينو
ربنا الباقي
أدوناي إلهينو
ربنا الباقي
أدوناي إخاد
ربنا الواحد
أدوناي إخاد
ربنا الواحد
شما 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 شما
اسمع يا عالم
شما 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 شما
اسمع يا عالم
شما 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 شما
الواحد
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, Shalom, v'hamidenu shomrenu l'chaim, ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha, ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha. Amen. Shelter us beneath thy wings, O Adonai. Guard us from all harmful things, O Adonai. Keep us safe throughout the night, till we wake with morning's light. Teach us, God, wrong from right. Amen. 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 Amen.
With the conclusion of the Chauvin trial this week, I've been thinking a lot about justice. What is justice? And what would justice look like for George Floyd and his family? One of my many takeaways from this moment is that true justice would mean that George Floyd and countless other Black and brown people who have been killed by police would still be alive today. And that, if necessary, they too would get their day in court. But instead, George Floyd is dead. His family will never get him back. And his family is left to publicly grieve and fight for any ounce of accountability they can receive from our broken system. Justice is not a guilty verdict for a murder that was witnessed on the street and then was replayed over and over again for an entire year. Justice will come when we have a society that is equitable for Black and brown people, a system where Black and brown bodies are not an inherent threat. It's truly my hope that together we can work to create a country where this kind of justice exists, where all people are treated equitably, no matter their race or ethnicity, no matter the color of their skin. It's my hope that tonight we continue to pray and work towards the day that justice does indeed flow like water. And like water, it renews over and over and over again until we get it right for all people of all colors. And as we transition now into the Amidah section of our service, let us take this time for a moment of reflection on the past week, a moment of reflection on what justice means to you, and a time to offer the prayers and meditations of our own minds and hearts.
Now it's time for Modim Anachnu Lach. And before we share the video, here's a little backstory on this prayer and on this song. I had originally written the music and the English lyrics in 2014 as a song commission for Cantor Tracy Fishbein in Nashville. And I thought the song was finished and we were singing it around. And then Allah heard it one Shabbat and he said, Michael, I have an idea. And Allah, why don't you share what you heard?
Yeah. I love the prayer simply. And I asked Michael about what it means. And after when you translated to me, I found this room in between in the melody. I thought maybe we can add some Arabic there to combine it with Hebrew and English. and it worked, I guess.
Oh, it was beautiful. I thought the song was finished, but the lesson that I learned in writing this Jewish piece of music, and it's so beautiful to me that it took my Palestinian Muslim brother hearing it to finish it with me. And just to show you that the Arabic is both an answer to the English or it reads linearly on its own. So the opening line of the prayer is, for this tiny rock spinning in space.
والعالم وسيع, which means, and the universe is vast.
And then you'll see that it continues down like this. In the video, the translation is there. So again, by the way, Modim Anachnu Lach in Arabic,
شكر والحمد لك.
we give thanks to you.
For this tiny rock spinning in space,
والعالم وسيع
for the stars that know to guide our way,
من غيرها بنضيع
for the promise of the human race. Modim anachnu lach, for the leaves that fall in the autumn sun,
بنودع خريف
to return once more when the springtime comes,
وبيجي الربيع
for the rolling hills and rivers that run. Modim anachnu lach. Modim anachnu lach. Shukru alhamdulillah. Modim anachnu lach. Shukru alhamdulillah. And for all who stand with those in need,
إيد ممدودين
in the face of true adversity,
ويضلوا مكملين
for freedom and justice and dignity, and the oneness of humanity. Modim anachnu lach. Modim anachnu lach.
شكر والحمد لك
Modim anachnu lach.
شكر والحمد لك موضي ما نحن لك
Shukru alhamdulillah. Modim anachnu lach. Modim anachnu
Let's pause now for a moment of silent reflection and meditation. The words of Oseh Shalom, we ask God to bring peace down for us, to our community, and to the rest of the world. And this evening, we offer this most beloved setting of Oseh Shalom, composed by Michael Hunter Oakes of Pursuit of Harmony. Oseh Shalom b'maromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu. Shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Michael and Allah's visit to our Sukkot Shalom community as the Pursuit of Harmony has been a long time coming. We originally made plans for them to join us in 2018, made plans for a 2019 date. And when that 2019 date rolled around, unfortunately due to visa issues, Allah was not allowed into the country and was therefore unable to join us in our community. So we rescheduled for 2020. And of course, the COVID-19 pandemic hit, shutting down international travel and again preventing us from being together with Michael and Allah. So we are truly grateful that Michael and Allah were able to join us last night for an amazing discussion and sharing of their story, as well as this evening as they join us in holy time, in sacred time, and assisting us in our Shabbat worship with their music and their teaching. I'll turn it over now to Michael Hunter Oakes, who's going to share a little bit of the story of how he and Allah came to pursue harmony together.
Shabbat Shalom, Sukkot Shalom. It is such a pleasure to finally be with you all tonight. This evening has been a long time coming, and I can't thank, and Allah and I together, we cannot thank the leadership of your community enough. Rabbi Gordon and Kenneth and Andrew and the sponsors of the original Pursuit of Harmony residence, which was supposed to be back in 2019. We encountered some unexpected visa issues, and we felt we were about to have them resolved in early 2020 when the pandemic hit. So you all are pursuing harmony with us here tonight by ensuring that we all meet, by ensuring that the Pursuit of Harmony comes to Chicago over Zoom, over Skype, using all the different methods that we've become accustomed to this past year. So thank you for making sure we have this chance to build hope together, because when you get to meet the stranger, this is where hope, I think, lives. When you find out you're really much more alike than you ever imagined. And that's what happened to me the first time I visited Ramallah, the West Bank, Palestine, back in 2009. I was brought there by a Norwegian leadership training program that was looking for emerging people of influence from all spheres of society. And I was in the songwriter group. And they introduced me to Allah basically on my first night. And they asked us to stay away from politics, history, borders, and religion, and to write music together and to get to know each other. And if we're being honest, when we're writing music together, we need to get to know each other. It should be an intimate experience. So Allah and I, we got to know each other. And I'll never forget, in one of those first meetings, he took a call, and I didn't know a word he was saying in Arabic, but I knew he was talking to his brother because he sounded just like how I think my brother and I sound when we're on the phone together. As we began to write songs, we began to feel something maybe even a little bit unexpectedly and stronger than we expected to feel it. We felt this sense of common humanity. And as we began to share our songs with other friends in our communities and with congregations across the U.S., we could see people very quickly feeling something they didn't expect maybe to feel. And what we saw is that once people feel differently, we start there. Let's start with the emotions. And once you feel differently, and that can happen like that, right? Our emotions can change on a dime. Once we feel differently, it becomes easy to think differently. And once we think differently, we can very naturally begin to act differently. And that was sort of the recipe that we stumbled upon. Feel, think, act differently. So 2009, I was brought to Ramallah, my first time, and I remember when I told my parents that I was going to Ramallah, they were afraid, right? I grew up in a typical Reform Jewish home in New York, but I don't remember us hearing a good thing about Muslims or Arabs or Palestinians. I'm not proud to say that, but I don't remember hearing a good word. And so when I told my parents I was going, they thought, of course, the idea was beautiful, but they were afraid. And now, of course, they have new Palestinian Muslim friends as the circle widened. I'll never forget the first visit to Ramallah, and I think that's what I'll just focus on tonight for a few minutes. The first visit, that fear turned into something beautiful almost overnight. Literally, I woke up that first morning in my hotel room. The sun was shining. I went downstairs to the buffet. A lot of hummus and falafel for breakfast over there. And I had some new friends waiting to pick me up outside the hotel. And they started to show me around the city and to introduce me to their friends. And I was welcomed everywhere. And really, on the second visit is when I began to share very naturally that I was a Jewish American. And I was still welcomed with open arms. And actually, people said, wow, this makes us feel hopeful. We're getting to know the other. And they asked me, why can you bring more friends of yours to visit? We need to get to know each other. This is where hope lives, and this is how things can begin to change. And something else happened to me unexpectedly whenever I visit the West Bank, Palestine, Hebron, Nablus. First of all, I bump into friends now everywhere. And I could never have imagined this, that I just walk down the street, Ramallah, bumping into friends. I have my favorite restaurants. I even know where I can get gluten-free pasta. It's when you step outside the comfort zone where the unexpected happens. And what I learned quite quickly is that the perception I grew up with about Palestinians and Arabs, Muslims, Palestine, Ramallah, it didn't match the reality on the ground that I was experiencing. And this is where optimism comes from. I feel so optimistic the more people I meet over there. By the way, you don't need to go to the Middle East to build these types of relationships, because what the Pursuit of Harmony is focused on is Jewish American Palestinian bridge building, let's say. We believe that the Jewish American people, the Palestinian people, we need to meet. We can start to break through some of the stereotypes and prejudice, and slowly we know we're going to see a ripple effect. So that's our focus. And we're so grateful to be able to share a little bit of what we're doing with you here tonight. And we hope that maybe you're feeling a little bit more hope tonight, and maybe you're wondering, what can we do? How do we continue and move forward with this new sense of optimism? And one thing Allah and I like to say is, go visit a hummus restaurant in your community. And by the way, if you're Muslim and you're listening tonight, go visit a kosher deli and get to know the people who work at either establishment and strike up a conversation. And you might be surprised by the results. I've done this in Nashville in several Middle Eastern restaurants. And I've met Palestinians from Bethlehem and from Ramallah. And then I bring some of my friends from synagogue over, and the circle widens. And people talk about these new friends on the phone with their relatives overseas. And we begin to see the world becomes a smaller place. We begin to see how much we really do have in common. And we begin to see that things can change and that we can be the change. So maybe you'll find a way to duplicate this friendship that you've heard a little bit about tonight between a Jewish American, Palestinian Muslim. And what would happen if many of us began to duplicate this type of friendship? I think it's worth finding out. Shabbat Shalom, and hopefully in the not too distant future we can relive this night again, but together in person, singing together in harmony.
We'll take a moment now to think healing thoughts, words of comfort for those we know that are in need of healing, of body, of mind, and of spirit. And as we offer the words of Misha Berach together in just a moment, you can feel free to leave the names of those you are thinking of in the chat if you wish. Misha Berach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Limotenu. May the source of strength who blessed the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mishaberach imotenu mikor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
We think of all of our loved ones whom death has recently taken from us, those who died at this season in years past, and those whom we have drawn into our hearts with our own. On this Shabbat, we recall especially those whose yortzites, anniversaries of death, occur during this time and during this season. Those whose more recent death of these past 30 days of Shloshim is keenly felt by family and friends and community. On this Shabbat, we recall especially the beloved memories of Emily Myers, Alvin Dalpelt, Minna Skadron, Lauren Hogan, Louis Kolpus, Dr. Charles Lee Empson, Mary Jane Mima Lavernier Wiersch, Grace Gallons, Lawrence Heimlich, Serena Glickstein, Agnes Aggie Hamus. Zecher Tzadikim Livracha, may the memory of the righteous be an abiding blessing, as together we say the mourner's Kaddish, Yikadal V'Yikadash Shemei Rabbah, V'Yalma Divrachu Te V'Yamlich Malchute, V'Chayechon U'V'Yomechon, V'Chayedecho Beit Yisrael, Bagala U'Vizman Kariv Imru, Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabba Mevorach Le'olam, Olmei Almaya, Yiparach V'Yishtabach V'Yitpa'ar V'Tramam V'Yitnaseh, V'Tadar V'Alev V'Yithalau Shemei D'Kudusha Barichu, Leila Min Kol Birchata V'Shirata, Tushbechata V'Nechamata, Damiram B'Alma V'Imru, Amen. Yehi Shalama Rabba Min Shemaya, V'chaim Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael, V'imru Amen. Oseh Shalom B'mramav, Hu Ya'aseh Shalom, Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael, V'imru Amen. May the source of peace grant peace to all who mourn, comfort to all who are bereaved. Amen.
Oseh Shalom B'mramav, Hu Ya'aseh Shalom, Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael, Ve'imeru. Amen. Shabbat Shalom to us all. Thank you so much for being with us this evening. And a special thank you, of course, to Michael and Allah, the Pursuit of Harmony. We are so grateful that you joined us this evening and shared your teaching and your music with us. Thank you for helping us find that bridge between the other. And we are looking forward to pursuing that here in our own community. Let's end with the words and the tune of, again, that beloved Sukkot Shalom setting of Oseh Shalom by Michael Hunter Oakes. Oseh Shalom.